Welcome to the fourth edition of the Tom's Barbers podcast. Today we've got local Labour councillor Biff Bean. Let's roll the video. Hi, I'd like to welcome Biff today. Okay, Biff, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I think most people watching your podcast here will know that I'm a local Heart Zone boy, born and bred Lincoln, and I'm the City Councillor for the Heart Zone area as well.
Brilliant. So what got you into it? Obviously it's not everyone does this, but how did you get into being a councillor?
I've always wanted to do stuff in the community, and I was offered to run as a councillor somewhere in the city, and I said, "Oh no!" I said, "The only place I'll run as a councillor would be in Heart Zone, where I've grown up." And Heart Zone was always a difficult ward to win as a councillor for the Labour Party, and in fact, I did lose my first two elections, so they were correct. But for the last 10 years, I have been elected 3 times, and I'm currently the City Councillor for this area. I'm proud to be councillor for this area.
Brilliant. So what does it involve? Like, obviously being a councillor, we hear it bandied about, but what's the day-to-day of being a local councillor?
So a councillor is somebody who represents the community. I'm like a hub for people if they've got some questions, concerns about locally in Heart Zone, or anything to do with the City Council in Lincoln. So I just make myself available for people to bounce ideas and questions off me, and if I can solve some problems for them, I do.
So do you think you more spend time solving problems or being proactive and doing initiatives?
If I'm not solving problems, I make myself proactive. So I do a lot of volunteer work. I run a charity. I work with other charities like suicide awareness charities primarily, and also we're supporting a dementia charity as well this year, which will change in the next few months. So I keep myself busy with mainly voluntary and charity stuff, but then obviously my council work dictates itself. It depends on who comes to me with problems. So it can be a 30-hour week, or it can be a 3-4 hour week. It just depends from week to week.
So with that, obviously, sometimes you can be working a lot, sometimes you're not. So what does Biff like to do? What's other than being a councillor? What's your hobbies? What do you like spending time doing?
Well, when the football season's on, I'll be down either watching Lincoln City or the local side, Lincoln United. I have a dog, so I like to walk my dog. So get out for a meal once a week. Not too exuberant, but just like to keep myself busy, basically.
It's always good. So obviously you talk about some of the charity work. So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, okay. Well, there's an interesting story. Some people my age will probably know Tottenham Hotspur footballer called Mickey Hazard, who played for Tottenham Hotspur in the 80s, won a few trophies. Played alongside people like Ozzy Ardiles and Ricky Villa and others. He contacted me out of the blue to see if I wanted to get involved in a suicide awareness project that he's doing up and down the country, and involves erecting a suicide awareness bench. And cut a long story short, that bench is now in place. It's in front of Jarvis House. It's a bench that gives information out to people who are in need of some help, some mental health issues they've maybe got, and feeling a bit down. They can go on there. There's some numbers to call. There's a QR code, and it lights up at night. So it's got a built-in solar panel, So if you go past it at night, you'll see it lit up as well. So the bench is always there for people if they just want to have a sit down and just contemplate what they're thinking, and hopefully it changes their mind and they get some help.
Do you find at the moment like suicides on the rise, or do you get much feedback around mental health?
Yeah, it's a massive issue. I mean, mental health's a massive issue. I'd be surprised if anybody who's listening or watching this has not had some type of mental health, not so much a breakdown, but at a time it could be like they've lost their parent, or God forbid, a child or something like that, and it can be debilitating. So yeah, it's the way the world is now, which is 24/7 with social media. It's so easy for people to get drawn into more emotional, attached situations. So yeah, I think it is more a problem. So that's why it's important that people like myself, not just me, but other people, volunteer their time and to try and help with that situation. Because yeah, I think it is on the rise, and I'd like to think we can get it down or turn it around and improve that situation.
If you've got any advice for anyone who is suffering, have you got any like key, maybe one or two things or steps they can take that could help?
The easiest thing is to talk to a friend, or just somebody. Maybe you're not a friend. Somebody you might meet in the park when you're walking, and you just say, "Excuse me, mate, can I just have a quick chat with you?" And offloading those negative emotions is very important, because once a problem's shared, it's halved, and that's when you're moving forward, and you're helping yourself. But you can't do it all yourself. That's why there are good organisations out there like the Samaritans, and like Andy's Man Club, and Legends on the bench that I'm a local ambassador for. So yeah, just talk to people. Don't and men are the worst. Men are terrible for not wanting to talk to people. And since I've been working, with suicide groups, I've actually had people come up to me and open up to me, which has been really good. So that's important. So yeah, it looks like it's working.
Well, I like it. I think we get a lot of customers that are struggling and got basically just need to talk, and I think that's one thing that we do as a barbers is we're quite good to listen. Like we listen a lot, and people can vent their anger and frustration. And I do feel like as a barbers, like we really can help certainly men with their feelings, and yeah, I'd recommend to anyone who is struggling, go and get your haircut. It just does make you feel better.
Yep.
And it also lets you vent to somebody. And obviously, what's really good about it is the communication side is not an issue. So we can help. And again, maybe we can give some advice, or at least give them a place where they could find proper support.
No, I totally agree with that. And, all your staff, I'm sure when you speak to your staff, make them aware that, people, if they are starting to talk, be all ears and try and help with any situation. Yeah, barbers are brilliant for one-on-one conversations.
And I think what we do is obviously we want to make you look good or feel good, because generally I always say it normally when I finish a haircut, how's that feel? Because ultimately you're wearing a haircut and it's that feel. I think feeling is more important than actual what it looks like. If you feel good, you feel great, and it helps with mindset. But also, we just get to talk with people. So as a counsellor, like, obviously it's not always great. What's some of the downsides of being a counsellor? Is there a lot of red tape? Is the funding not there? On a day-to-day, what's the hard thing about being a counsellor?
A couple of things, really. I mean, we have to make tough decisions. Obviously, a misconception about the council is it's got endless money. It just doesn't have endless money. It only has money that's provided by local residents, and we try and keep that down to a minimum. We keep it within constraints of certain things, and I would love for the councils to have more money so our public services are better. People can see more police on the beat, cleaner streets, more help for local elderly, social care, and you just can't get that with no money. So that's where the volunteering comes in, and that's why it's important to volunteer. If you sat at home and you think, oh, there's nothing to, and people do say this, and they say, Biff, there's nothing to do around here, you know, and I'm not talking about kids all the time. Adults will say, Biff, there's nothing to do around here, you know, what do you suggest? And I'll make some suggestions, you know, especially outdoor activities like go out, get yourself a litter picker and pick up some litter in your area. It makes you feel good. You know, you might think, that's not my job, that's the council's job. But at the end of the day, people drop litter 24/7. The council aren't there to just walk around picking litter all day long. So you will see me out and about with people litter picking, and that's one thing that you can do yourself to make yourself feel better about your community. And same again, you get out and you meet people. People will come and say, oh, what are you doing? How are you doing? Didn't expect you to be picking litter. Oh, no, it's great. You should come out with me. Let's do an organised litter pick every week. How about we meet every Tuesday at 9 o'clock, do a bit of a litter pick around the estate, and then we'll go for a coffee and make a bit of an event out of it. It's so easy to do community stuff and volunteer. People, I don't think people realise. And I always try and marry people up. So if people say, yeah, but I don't know anybody, Biff, I'm on my own, I've lost my wife or lost my husband, I'll say, come out with me. I'll get you to meet some people that I know and get them involved with some events that and coffee mornings and things like that. So that's another thing a councillor can do, is like help, you know, get people together and get people working in the community, which is really important. And you feel great for it. I love it. I love doing community work. I'm busier now than I've ever been. I hardly make any money. My wife says, you're not making any money. If I said, well, it is what it is. But I'm just putting back into society that I've taken out. And I've been lucky as an individual. So it's important for me to give back to this community that it's given me, and it's given me a lot.
Just to help like that, there's so much you said there that's just mind blowing, really. Like, obviously, so you kind of connect people. Is a way like obviously you said that there's so many things to do, like litter picking, meeting, coffee clubs. Is this something you just do sporadically, or is there like an organisation? So like Monday it's litter picking day, Tuesday walks, Wednesday's coffee, you know, Thursday we just go and remove graffiti. You know, is there structure to it, or is it just at the moment that I had?
There are groups out there that do things at different times of the day. I mean, obviously I do work still. I still work. I work for the Youth Offending Services, so I'm not available all the time. But Hartstone Park's a good area to start. They have volunteer days. Lincolnshire Co-op, they have volunteer groups. And if you pick up the phone to most of these organisations and ask them, say, oh, do you have any volunteering groups? They'll tell you, or they'll put you in touch with somebody. So you don't always have to come to your counsellor, although you're welcome to. You're welcome to come to me anytime you want. But you can pick up the phone and contact people, or just Google volunteering in my area, and you'll probably find something you're interested in your community.
That's good to know. The thing is, I generally, a lot of suggestions you made there, I didn't even think of, which is a bit naive of myself. But yeah, so it's good that there's a lot of things out there. Potentially, obviously, if you're lonely or time, you know, there's a lot you can do to improve the area. Why would people be surprised to hear about what you do? Is there anything that you do that people will not even have a clue?
I think not so much now, because people know after talking to me, but a lot of people think I'm on like £70,000 a year. They don't realise that councillors in the City of Lincoln are volunteers. We get an allowance, and to be fair, that works out about, to me, after tax and paying a few different things, that works out about £70 a week. And that pays for, it can pay for my phone, fuel, some printing. It can be anything. Like I say, sometimes I'm really, really busy. So if somebody wants to do a 40-hour week for £70, they'll probably say, no way I'm doing that. But local councillors, that's what we do. We do a lot of work for very little. It's our choice, and I knew this was my. It's not about the money for me. I wouldn't care if they told me, Biff, as a councillor, you're not going to get any money. You're going to be self-funding. It'd be disappointing to hear that, but I would still carry on being a councillor because that's what I like doing. I like helping in the community.
That's I forgot about. I didn't think it was 70,000, but I did think it'd be a little bit more than that. So, if you had a magic wand, then Biff, what would you do tomorrow?
For Lincoln, I mean, there's so many things you'd want to do if you had that magic wand. But I think homelessness, if I could cure homelessness in Lincoln with a stroke of a pen, that helps without so many other issues. So if you've got a house and a roof over your head, the chances of you getting a job is a lot better, 100% better. It might be that you're not mixing with people you shouldn't be mixing with. So things like drug and alcohol, you could probably get them, eliminate them, or get them under control by having your own space and your own privacy. So homelessness would be, and nobody, you don't like seeing anybody out on the street, you know. It's just not, you know, everybody needs to go to bed at night. You know what I mean? Warm, knowing that they're safe and secure. And to see people out on the street, whether it's a fault of their own or because of circumstances, it doesn't matter. It's still a really, it bugs me, and I wish we could sort it out.
Yeah, it's. Would you say homelessness in Lincoln? Because I'll be honest, I very rarely go out of Allen. Is homeless on the rise in Lincoln, or?
It's a good question. I haven't seen local statistics, so I don't know where we are regarding that at the minute, and I probably should do. But it's still there. It's still prevalent, obviously, and you see it on TV. You see it in other cities, and you hear about it. I'm hoping that we are starting to tackle it a little bit. I see some areas are putting like homeless hubs out where, you know, there's like overnight hubs where people are pods where people can go and sleep. So I think there is a lot more help being given. So let's hope it's on the fall. But it'd be lovely if we could say we've eliminated it, wouldn't it?
It would. So obviously that's Lincoln as well. What would first top priority for Heartsome?
But also it changes. You know, the issues with people are antisocial behaviour. A lot of people contact me about antisocial behaviour. Obviously, public services. You know, policing. E-scooters is a real problem at the moment. I haven't got a problem with them in general, but I think they need to be regulated now because we are having some issues. I got hit by one on, not a big hit, but somebody clipped my arm on Doddington Road. So they are dangerous, and I think they need to be regulated. That's something that's been coming up quite a bit, these scooters, but you could class that as antisocial behaviour.
Yeah. Well, so I actually have a scooter, and I think, like I'd say, I use it quite ethically. But again, it's the people, isn't it? Like, you know, I suppose respect. If that person's not got respect, whether on an e-scooter, a bike, or anything, they're not going to have that respect anyway. So, would you say it's more the people than the tool? Because obviously the e-scooter is the tool, isn't it, that they cause their havoc with?
It's a bit of both, because obviously it's down to the user and how they use whether it's a push bike, you know, a bicycle, or anything. You've got to be mindful of that can get up to 20, 25 miles an hour. If you hit somebody with a cycle, so something that's motorized is going to be even worse. And that is, so sometimes these electric scooters are like tampered with, so they go faster, which causes a problem. So that's where then you start getting issues where people have been killed by being hit by them on the paths. And we've got kids as young as 8, 9, 10 on scooters on the road.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, you don't want to see young kids being hit. And they're not, and, you know, kids are smarter more so these days, I think, but they're not, that thrill gets to the head and everything goes out the window. And the chance of getting hurt is it's there. And so that's why regulation on e-scooters is really, really important. And we are doing a survey on them at the moment. I am going door to door, doing handing out surveys, so getting some feedback. And like I say, I'm not against them in principle. If they're used properly, they can be a good tool for people who've got mobility issues. Stop using your car and get into workplace and things like that. I'm all for the environment. I've got an electric car myself. So there is some pros with them, but the cons are now letting it down, if you understand what I'm saying.
But again, surely simply the law's there. If a scooter has been modified and it goes against the law, it gets removed from them, it gets destroyed. Right? You know, doesn't that go back to like the police having powers and actually using them?
Yeah, and the police have been doing that. I mean, just recently there've been 22 arrests. Somebody got 6 points on the license, £1,000 fine, and the scooter was removed. I think it's been scrapped or crushed. So the police will act on that, but I think what we need now is it to be legislated on. So the government needs to come out with some clear guidelines on e-scooters and motorized bikes, so that everybody knows, you know, what they are and what they're capable of, and what sort of qualifications you need, whether it's an age qualification or it's you need to tax them and insure them. But at the least, we need some type of regulation. Yeah. So I think that will be coming out from the government within the next couple of years, because we are working. I have been working with the police and I have been working with the local MP on this issue. But like I say, in principle, I'm not against them. I'm just concerned about how they're being used.
Yeah, and I'm just going to quickly ask as well, do you know when the government are trying to sort out regulation on e-scooters, could they get our industry regulated, please? Because ultimately, not many people know this, but you don't have to have a qualification to be a barber. Majority of shops don't. Obviously, we do. But can you look at regulating our industry so we don't have so many cowboys? That'd be appreciated.
To be fair, Tom, I think that they have been doing some, and I'm sure you're aware that they've been raiding some. You seem to get, and it might be that there's nothing to see here, but you do start to see a lot of barbers going up in close proximity of each other, and that's not always viable. It's not viable. It's not good for the one person. If everybody's just basically getting along on a low wage because there's so many of you doing the same job, or there's something behind that that's illegal, but and they are, because there have been some arrests as regards money laundering and things of that nature that have been.
I was on the board for the Barbers Council not long ago, and the Hairdressing Federation, and in all fairness, there is a lot of reports out there. Like for me, it's my trade. I love my trade, and I want it to be as professional as possible. But one of my biggest gripes is actually the modern slavery to it. People are working for less than £7. Arguably, if you're paying £10 for a haircut and it takes you 30 minutes, that person definitely will be under the minimum wage, the living wage, because most of them are on a 50% split. There's a lot of bad things that go around it, but ultimately is my love is to make this to be a lot more professional than it is. So yeah, if you're going to look into that, that'll be fantastic.
Yeah, no, next time I speak to the MP, Hamish, I'll mention it, but I know it is being addressed somewhat, but if you would like that to be stepped up even more,
I'd love it.
I'll mention it to Hamish.
But no, really, really enjoyed today. Thank you very much for coming in. Really appreciate what you do for the area and continue that. And obviously, if there's any way we can help and support, we'd love to.
Well, if people want me to carry on being the councillor in Hartsong, there's an easy thing to do. Local elections, come out and support me. That's all. I'm not political. I'll deal with anybody in this area who who's not necessarily a Labour supporter, I will help. So if you want me to carry on as your councillor, please come out and support me locally.
Cheers. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it.
Just a quick one. How's best to reach out to you? Obviously, you mentioned a number of times. Is it Facebook, email? Anywhere
really. I mean, you can get me on Lincoln City Council website under Your Councillors. I go door to door all the time. I'm just off Fulmer Road at the moment. I knock on doors all year round. So I go and see people. I go and see everybody in my ward at least once a year. If they're not in, I'll leave a leaflet so they know I've been. So I go out and talk to people. They can talk to me then. I'll leave information. So there's numbers, emails to get a hold of me. But they can always come in here for a haircut and ask you, Tom.
Yeah, no, can do. Well, again, thank you very much.
Thank you, mate. Thank you very much.
That was really interesting. Thank you, Biff, for coming in. But it's amazing the amount of roles and responsibility a local councillor has, above and beyond that I thought. Obviously, you know, it's great to see what he does in the community and some of the initiatives they do. But no, it just shows how much they do above and beyond. So thank you very much, Biff. Obviously, if you've got any ideas that could help the community, please reach out to Biff or even to myself.